In the chaotic first few moments following Charlie Kirk's assassination, an older bald white man, handcuffed by cops, seemed to be the prime suspect. Now authorities have revealed that while he wasn't guilty of killing Kirk, he is being charged with something that will turn your stomach. In a sickening news release, the Utah County Sheriff's Office said that 71-year-old George Zinn has been charged with 4 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, after investigators found over 20 images of kids as young as 5 years old on his phone, in which they appeared at least partially naked and in sexual poses. The agency went on to say that Zinn had admitted that he gets sexual gratification from viewing and sharing child pornography with others, and that his preferred victim age is 5 to 12 years old. Zinn captured the attention of authorities on September 10th when Charlie Kirk was fatally shot in front of a crowd at Utah Valley University. According to Utah's Fox 13, court records revealed that Zinn falsely confessed to murdering Kirk by yelling at cops, "I shot him, now shoot me." Zinn later claimed that he was attempting to distract the police from the real shooter. There is no current evidence that Zinn and suspect Tyler Robinson had any connection or were working together on this scheme. In the immediate aftermath of the assassination, Zinn's image spread across the internet, with many believing he was the one who pulled the trigger. Before the shooting, Zinn was already known to authorities. According to Salt Lake City County District Attorney Sim Gill, the political troll is infamous for being a gadfly who attends many political events and is almost always thrown out for his odd behavior. Zinn has racked up a number of trespassing arrests at events like film festivals, protests, and political rallies. Most ominously, he spent a year in the can in 2013 for threatening to bomb the Salt Lake City Marathon.
There was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombing.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place, and then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right, right.
Right, and because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT fucking perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events? If someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT fucking perplexity things.
But what are the odds that George Zinn, the patsy that was arrested at the Charlie Kirk assassination, also saw 9/11, he saw the planes fly into the buildings and called that in or reported it, and then he also called in a fake terrorist attack at the Boston Marathon bombing, and just so happened to get arrested at Charlie Kirk's event. So Tess Keyser, she responded to this tweet and she says, Grok is a guy really involved in all 3 events like this post claims. And Grok fact checks and goes, based on a review of multiple sources, George Zinn was a witness to the 9/11 attacks, and he described seeing planes hit the towers. He was also arrested in 2013 for emailing a bomb threat joke to the Salt Lake City Marathon shortly after the Boston bombing. He pled guilty to a terrorism charge and somehow magically only received probation. He was also detained and questioned as a person of interest at the Charlie Kirk assassination on September 10th, 2025, but released without charges relating to the shooting. Then Grok went on and made sure that it told you there is no credible evidence that supports claims of his involvement in 9/11, facilitating Kirk's death, or Mossad ties. The main suspect in Kirk's killing is now Tyler Robinson, and he is in custody. So I asked Grok to break this one down for us, and it says so, and it wouldn't give me an answer first. It said it's impossible to calculate. Well, I said use statistical probability and give me a ballpark stat on the probability of him being at all 3 major events. And it goes through here and it breaks it down. Then we get down here to the very bottom where it combines the probability right here. Combined probability. And it says it is equal to 0.705% or 5 times 10 to the power of 8. That translates to approximately 1 in 2 billion. Does all of that seem normal to you?
It was an interesting time when I went to, I was at Denver just on September 10th, 2001, and I'm a huge Broncos fan, so I was. It was the opening night of Denver Broncos Stadium. I went down there, and we were playing the Giants that night, and so it was a huge event for us. I even remembered everything that happened we opened the stadium on September 10th, 2001. And so, you know, we won the Giants, which was good. I remember that was when Ed McCaffrey actually got hurt that night on a season-ending injury. And so I'm ready to go leave the hotel on September 11th, early that morning, and go back to Salt Lake City. And they said, come down, look in the lobby. Something's happening here. They said there's a plane that's headed towards one of the towers in New York City. And we're just glued. Everybody in the lobby is just going, wow, is this pilot error? What's going on here? You know, it was very confusing. And we see that plane go in, and we just think, wow, you know. And then I think it was, what, a 912 or something like that, that second plane hit that tower. Immediately chaos in that hotel lobby. There was, everybody was on cell phones. People had friends, family, everybody they, you know, knew in New York. And we just said, oh, you know, that's got to be something. That's terrorist attack or something like that. We weren't quite sure. We thought that because, you know, there'd been an attack like several years earlier in the basement of that tower. We thought that, well, this was the same guy that had come in and just kind of finished the job. And so, you know, Denver immediately turned. Now, Denver does have a World Trade Center, but it's really not on the same level as the one in New York City. I mean, it's just an operating facility. It's just a business facility. So I don't think it had any kind of particular attraction towards what was happening at the time. But I go down in Denver, downtown, you know, to see what's going on, and it really hadn't hit people. I mean, it was kind of business as usual for a while. And then that night, they had frozen all the airplanes and all the flights out. I couldn't get home. So I was stuck a little bit longer, I think at least 2 or 3 days longer in Denver. And was just glued to my TV, just wondering what was always happening, because, you know, we just didn't know exactly that, you know, that it was exactly a terrorist attack. We did have some idea, you know, there was something going on, because we dealt with Bin Laden before in separate instances, so we did suspect that it was Al-Qaeda involved in that. I've since been to Ground Zero at least twice. The first time they were just barely cleaning up. I think I was there two years later up at New York City. I went up there for we actually had the National Republican Convention up in New York, and I went up for the National Convention, and got to see a little bit of Ground Zero. In fact, our headquarters was right across the street of the Marriott Hotel, and we could oversee what was going on there. We could see some of the workers and the things that were going on. Just very sad. Couldn't be very, very close to it, because they were still cleaning the place up, and it was still a recovery effort. And so what I did, and I left a little note on. You know, I drew an American flag. They had a wall around there where people could leave different messages or whatever they wanted, you know, about loved ones. And well, I drew an American flag and gave them, you know, said whatever, and God bless America. And then I went back, I think a few years later, and I noticed they had blackened over the entire memorial wall with paint. And I felt very sad that they had taken everybody's sentiments and just basically just. But there was no way they could keep it anyway, because it was just a temporary wall, and they wanted to put that memorial up there. So, you know, basically that's my experience with what I went through with 9/11. I really didn't have anybody I knew that was up there. But the feeling of, you know, it changed America forever. I just, you know, it's just unbelievable with the amount of patriotism we saw. You know, flags in every window. And, you know, united for that short period of time. I just wish that it could just stay that way. Somebody said that they haven't seen that kind of unity in the country since Pearl Harbor in 1941. You know, when we were brought together and that kind of thing. And anyway, God bless America. It was a great. I can't say it's a great experience. It was a experience I'll always remember. And that's kind of my story as far as where I was.